Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and we are back with the new part of this tutorial series, that is C# tutorial for beginners, and this is the continuation to the previous part of this tutorial series, that is threads in C#. So if you haven't watched that tutorial yet, then I strongly recommend you guys to watch that first in order to understand this better. Okay, so we will continue this threads in C# today. So today we will learn what is join and is alive in thread, advantages and disadvantages of multi-threading in C#. As we have already learned some of the advantages and disadvantages in the threads in the previous tutorial, but we will learn them in a detail in today's tutorial, and we will learn that is third, monitor and lock, that is what is monitor and lock is used for in thread. Okay, so first of all, what is thread join and thread is alive? So join is the method provided by the thread class which makes one thread wait until an executing thread on which a join method is called is completing its execution. Okay, so now what does that mean? Let's just see directly into an action, and for that let's just switch to Visual Studio. Okay, so this is the same example we have used in the previous tutorial, and now if you guys recollect, so in that tutorial we have learned how to make this application more responsive by using these threads. Okay, so now what we have done in the previous tutorial, let me get rid of this for now. Okay, and let me uncomment this method. I will comment this for now, and what I will do, I will call this method instead of that student method. Okay, so this is a time consuming method and it will take at least 5 seconds because we have make that thread go to sleep for at least 5000 milliseconds, so that is nothing but a 5 seconds. Okay, so now, and after that time consuming method, what we will do, we will print the list of student and we will print that directly here. Okay, so how I will print that here directly. Okay, and for that I will need a list, and where this list, that I have commented this, so I don't need to comment that, I will uncomment that. So I will pass that list here only, that is this, and I will make that as yes because that name is clashing with this object name. Okay, that is this, we don't require this. Okay, so I will comment this only, and having done that I can use that student only. Okay, I will comment this and I will use that student only here. Okay, so now if I run this, we should get this output, that is list of student. And as I have passed this time consuming method to a different thread, that is a child thread, so we should get our list first, and then after that that executing thread, that is a child thread, will complete its work. Okay, so something like this, we got that list, and after that that child thread has completed its work after 5 seconds. Okay, and this we have done to make this console or make this user interface more responsive, because before this what used to happen, if we don't use this child thread, that is if I comment this for now and if I use this method directly here, okay, without giving that to a different thread, if I run this thread in a main thread only, if I run this method in a main thread only, so what output we will get? We will get that same output, but in what order? It will complete its work first, that is a 5 milliseconds, that is a 5000 millisecond work, and after that we will get our list. Okay, so for this list to print, we have to wait for this method to complete its work, and that is not a user responsive. Okay, so but now what if we want this child thread to complete its work first? So now instead of using this child thread and giving that method to this child thread, and still we want this method to complete its work before printing this list, so can we do that? Yes, we can make a main thread wait until this child thread complete its work. And how we can do that? By using join method. And how we can do that? Child thread dot join, something like this, and now main thread will wait until this child thread completes its execution, and after that only this main thread will execute this list, that is this code. Okay, so let's see that. Now if I run this, okay, so that child thread is doing its work, it is making it is making that main thread to wait until that child thread completes its work. Okay, so now to prove you that, what I will do, I will print one message here, that is console. Before making that thread to sleep, what I will print here, child thread completing its work, something like this. Okay, and after it complete that, what I will print, I will print child thread has completed, that is completed its work. Okay, and now if I run this, so child thread completing its work, and after that, after 5 seconds, child thread has completed its work, and after that we got our list. So in this case, or maybe there can be a scenario in real-time application as well, if we want this child thread to complete its work before handing that control over to the main thread, so in that case we can use this join method on that child thread, which we want that thread to complete its work before that main thread, before that control goes to main thread. Okay, so this is how we use this join method. Now what is this isAlive method? Okay, so that is nothing but, we can see if this child thread is still alive or it's still doing its work or not, to basically to check if this child thread is still alive or it's still executing. Okay, so how we can do that? Let's just see. After joining that, what I can do, child thread dot isAlive, there is a method, and what that method returns, that method returns bool, that is true or false. Okay, and we cannot use that something like this. We will use that inside this if statement, something like this, and inside that what I will print, console dot write line if it is alive. Okay, so we will check that if it is alive, so we will print that child thread is still executing inside main thread. Okay, and if not, then what we can print, I will just simply copy this message from here, and what I will print here, child thread is not alive anymore inside a main thread. Okay, so this message I want to print that, and now let's see what output we will get. So child thread completing its work. After 5 seconds, child thread has completed its work, but can you see here it is printing child thread is not alive anymore inside a main thread. And why? Because it has already completed its work. So, and that's how we can check if this child thread is still alive, okay, or not inside a main thread. We can check that using that isAlive method. And now when that child thread would have been alive, so let's see that it would have been alive before here, that is before joining that child thread, before using that child thread join method. Okay, so here it should have been alive. Okay, so let's see that if I run this, so child thread completed its work, child thread is still executing inside a main thread. Okay, and after that child thread has completed its work, child thread is not alive anymore inside a main thread. So that's how we use this join method and isAlive join method to wait that to make that main thread wait until its child threads to complete its work, and that isAlive method to check if that child thread is still alive or still executing inside that main thread. So, and that's what mentioned here. join is the method provided by thread class which makes one thread wait until executing thread on which method is called is completing its work. It's completing the execution basically, okay. And isAlive is the method provided by that thread class only, which returns true if current thread is still executing, or alive and returns false if not, okay. So both these are nothing but method inside a thread class, which is nothing but inside threading namespace, and we have seen that already, but let me show you that again. So this is nothing but a method that is alive, which is returning bool, and it is nothing but inside this thread class under the system.threading namespace, okay. And similarly there should be a join method here, that is this, okay. So this join method. Now if you guys can see here, there is another join as well, that is another overloaded version of this join which is returning bool. And let's see what this join method do. So it is mentioned here, that is blocks the calling thread until the thread represented by this instance terminating or the specified time elapsed, while continuing to perform standard com and send message pumping. Now what does this mean? Let me show you that. Now we can make a main thread wait until its child thread performing its work, okay, or maybe until the child thread is executing, we can force that main thread to wait. But now what we can also do, we can give a time until which a main thread should wait for that child thread to execute, okay. So we can mention time something like this, in a millisecond maybe. For this time only, that main thread will only wait for this child thread to complete its work, but as soon as this time pass, that main thread will no longer wait for that child thread to execute its work. And now to show you that, what I will do, I will increase that time here for that child thread. And what time we have mentioned here, that is for child thread to complete its work, that is a 5 seconds. And what time that child thread is taking, that is 7 seconds. So in this case, main thread should not wait for the child thread to complete its work. Okay, so let's see that. I will run this and let's see that. So child thread is still executing inside main thread. Child thread completing its work. Okay, so child thread is still executing inside a main thread, and we got that list, and that main thread has not wait until that child thread completed its work. Now you can see that after this list, this child thread has completed its work, okay. So that's how we can use this join method's second overloaded version, that is which returns bools, and that is how we use the join and alive method, okay. Now let's just see advantages and disadvantages of multithreading in C#. So there are these advantages, that is first, that is high responsiveness, second improved performance, and third resource sharing. Now the advantage, that is high responsiveness, that we have already seen in the previous tutorial, and that I have just shown you in this tutorial as well, okay. That is, we can make our application high responsive by using that child thread, by making that time consuming method run in a different thread, okay. So that's how we can make our application high responsive, okay. And what is second advantage, that is improved performance. Now how it is improving the performance of our application? So let me show you that, okay. Now to show you that, what I will do, I will just get rid of all of this code, okay, from here. So sorry, I will remove this code. From here, okay, and I will get rid of this this method as well. And basically I will just get rid of this class as well. I don't need it anymore. We will see that in a fresh example, that how this multi-threading makes our application's performance improved, okay. So for that, let me have a fresh class here, okay. So I will use that is I will create one class here, that is number, okay. And what I will do, I will take two methods here, public void calculate sum of even numbers and inside that I will print console.writeLine sum of even numbers. Now how we can print that? Let me show you that. Okay, so let me print that message only, sum of even numbers. So, and what we will do, we will take one for loop, and for now I will not take any parameter here, or I will not take any target for which we want that sum of even numbers. We will provide that by ourselves only here. Okay, so I want to show you just how this performance is good with this multi-threading. So for that we will provide that by ourselves only. Okay, so let me give, that is I less than or equals to maybe 5,000, until 5,000 I want, or maybe 50,000, so that we will get more time. And why I am doing this, so I will show you that, don't worry, we will get more time to be elapsed, so that is why I am doing this. 50,000, until 50,000 I want that sum of only even numbers until 50,000. Okay, so what I will do, I plus plus, and I will take one condition here, so that we will get only sum of even numbers. So if, that is I modulus of 2 equal 0. Okay, so if it is so, then and then only we will add that sum into this, and we will not print that here, we will print that outside this for loop. And here what I will do, I will take one maybe integer variable sum, I will initialize that to 0 for now, and here what I will do, sum is equals to sum plus I, and in that sum now there is this total, that is sum of even numbers, and I will print that here, something like this. Okay, so similarly I will take one method, that is sum of odd numbers as well, that is calculate sum of odd numbers. So what I will do here, I will just make that equal to as a not equal to, and this is nothing but will print that is only sum of odd numbers. So I will just make that as odd. Okay, and we are good to go. And now in main method what I will do, I will create a class, that is instance of that class number is equals to new number. Okay, and now I will call both these methods, number dot calculate even numbers and number dot calculate odd numbers. Okay, and I will print that for now, and we will see if this we will get that output, that is sum of even numbers and sum of odd numbers. Okay, so this is sum of even numbers until that 50,000, that is the target, and this is the sum of odd numbers until that 50,000. Okay, now, and before that let me print one console read line here, so to make that look good only. Okay, all right. Okay, so we are getting that output. Now what I will do, I will call these similar methods but using child threads, that is for now it is executing under main thread, but now what I will do, I will call this method separately in their separate threads. Okay, so how we can do that, I have already shown you how we can create a child threads, that is child thread 1 is equals to new thread, and what I will do, I will pass this method here, and we know as this method also have a return type of void and it is taking nothing, so we can call that. Okay, and similarly what I will do, I will create another thread, that is another child thread, and I will pass this sum of calculate odd numbers in this thread, that is separate thread. Okay, so now we have two child threads which is each having its own one method to be executed. Okay, so now, and we know we have to call this thread start method here to make that thread start, that is start. Okay, and similarly second method, that is second thread, I want to start. And what I also want to do is I want to stop, or I want to make that main thread wait until this child thread complete its work. Okay, so for that what we can do, we can call that join method. Okay, and we have just learned that. So now, and what I will do, I will create one class here, that is stopwatch. So this stopwatch is nothing but present inside a system namespace, and if I go to the definition of that stopwatch, okay, so actually it is present inside a system.diagnostics namespace. Okay, so now what I can do, stopwatch is equals to new stopwatch, and I will make that start here, that is stopwatch is equals to stopwatch dot start new. I will make that stopwatch start here so that we will get the elapsed time which is, or maybe the time which is required to execute this method. Okay, and I will make that stopwatch stop here, something like this. And after that what we will do, we will print that time which elapsed between this execution. Okay, and how we can do that, there is this method inside this stopwatch only, that is elapsed milliseconds. Okay, so we can do that, we can use that something like this, and we will print one method here, and we will print one message here so that we will understand what this is, that is elapsed time in milliseconds. Okay, all right. And similarly what we will do, we will print that same message after this thread, that is this child thread, completes its work. After these child threads execute these same methods but inside a separate threads. Okay, that is each thread having its own method to be executed, and this is nothing but a main thread executing both this method at a time. Okay, so now what I will do, I will print that message after this join, after that is this child thread completed its work. And similarly what I have to do, I have to make that new stopwatch start its counting. Okay, that is start new, and I will stop that here, that is stop. Okay, and let's just run this and let's see what happens. So if you can see guys, this main thread has executed both this method in that main thread, that is this both this method has completed its work and it has printed that output, but the elapsed time in a millisecond which it takes to complete that both these methods is 11 milliseconds. And as you can see, this child thread has also completed its work, that is a sum of even number and sum of odd number simultaneously at a time, and the elapsed time in millisecond was only 6. So this is nothing but half time as compared to this time which this main thread has executed, which this main thread has taken to execute these methods, both these methods. So now from this we can say, by using this multi-threading we can improve the performance of our application. So the time which is required is much less than this main thread to execute both these methods. Okay. So that is nothing but a second improved performance. So that is nothing but advantage, that is improved performance we get with the multi-threading. And third advantage, resource sharing. So let's see what this advantage is, that is resource sharing. Let's take one method here that is in this numbers, and what I will name that as a public void add total, that is add total only. Okay, I will name that as add total only. And what I will do, I will take one static variable, that is total here, static in total, and I will initialize that 0 for now. Okay, and what we will do, we will take one console here, console dot write line, that is total is equals to, and here I will take one for loop, that is for int I is equals to 0, and similarly here I will take that target by myself only. Okay, that is maybe 50,000. Okay, and I plus plus and I will take that outside this actually, and I will make this total is equals to total plus I, something like this. Let's say we have this method here. Okay, and now we will call this same method, and before that let me print that total here. Okay, now what I will do, let me just get rid of this for now, or what I will do, I will just get rid of this from this, that is this numbers. So yes, we have to create instance of that number, so I will create that here again, number. Okay, alright, and in that number there is this method that is add total, and until now, until the target which we have provided here, that is in for loop. So let's see that first if it works, and if I run this, we are getting that total. Okay, until that target. So now what I will do, I will give this same method to two different threads. Okay, that is something like this, thread child thread 1 is equals to new thread, and this add total, that is this number dot add total, I will give that to this thread, that is child thread, and similarly I will give this same method to another child thread as well. Okay, that is this. And now let me use that stopwatch, that is here, stopwatch dot start, and here I will stop that. And this should be equals to stopwatch new, because we want that to be start from new elapsed time. Okay, from the new time. Okay, so now, and we will print that message, that is console dot write line, and elapsed time in milliseconds. Okay, and in that we will print that stopwatch dot elapsed time in millisecond. Okay, and after that we will make that child thread start and child thread 2 start, and also we will make those child thread, that is child thread 1 and child thread 2, to complete its work before handing that control to the main thread. Okay, alright, and we will use that stopwatch here as well, and we will make that stop after they complete their works here, and we will print that elapsed time here. Okay, so now guys, as you can see, this total method which is executing inside a main thread has required the time of 4 milliseconds, but the same method running separately in two separate threads, that requires 3 seconds only. Instead of running that twice inside a separate method, but because of these two threads sharing that resource, that is this single method, they are sharing in their separate threads and running simultaneously without waiting for each other. So because of that, it is also sharing that resource, and they are making the contribution to make this add total work, as well as they are executing it simultaneously in each thread. So that is nothing but a resource sharing and an improved performance for this application. But now the advantage, that is resource sharing, it can turn into a disadvantage also. And how it can turn into a disadvantage, let me show you that. But before that, I will make one slight change here. Okay, now what I will do, I will not take that total here. Instead, what we will do, we will take that here, that is here, and I will take that method from here, and I will maybe here, I will keep that here only. Okay, so that we don't need this class here anymore, and I will get rid of this, that is all of this. So we don't need this stopwatch as well, as I want to only show you the disadvantage of that resource sharing. So I don't need this stopwatch and all. Okay, so what we will do, I will just make that total plus plus here, something like this, and I will print that total here. So now what I will do, I will create two threads here, that is thread child thread 1 is equals to new thread child thread 2 is equals to new thread. And what I will do, I will make both this thread execute this same method, that is add total. And what I will do, I will make this class as, that is this method as static, so we don't need to create an instance again. Okay, that is for this class as well. Okay, so now we will make that child thread start, that is this as well and this as well, that is we will make that child thread 1 start and child thread 2 start, as well as we will make that child thread 1 join and child thread 2 as well, to join, to complete its work and make that main thread wait until it is executing. And if I run this now, and yes, for that difference to see, what we have to do now, we have to run that from the command prompt, and I will show you that output again and again, and there will be a different value each time. So let me show you that. And before that, let me just increase these numbers here so that value will be bigger, so we will get that more difference. Okay, so we will print that how we can run this program from command prompt as well. And how we can do that, let me just run command prompt here, and what I can do, and I will go to the location of this project, something like this, open folder in File Explorer. I will get this location, I will copy this location from here, and on command prompt I will go to that location first, something like this. For some reason we have not reached there. Okay, so now it is good. We are in this location, that is this G, and basically in the location of this project. Okay, and in this location, actually this should not be the location, we have to go to the bin and a debug. So here our exe is present. Okay, so we want this location, so I will again go there and I will go to that location. Okay, so now we are in this location, and in that there is this name of the exe, that is thread in C#, and I can print that something like this. So it is printing that message. Again I will run that. Okay, again I will run that again and again. So now guys, you can see here each time it is printing a different value, a different total. So that is nothing but a disadvantage of resource sharing between threads, and that is nothing but it is not a thread safe. Okay, so now to make that thread safe, what we can do, we can use interlocked dot increment instead of that total, and I can pass that total here. So what it will do, it will increment this total, that is this method will increment this total. And now if I run this, or instead of running that, let me build this project, and again we will run that from this command prompt. And before running that, let me clear this screen, I will type CLS, and now let me print that again, let me print that again, and you will notice that every time you are printing that, and no matter what time you are printing that, the output is same. And why is that so? Because we have used this interlock.increment, and what it is doing, it is allowing only a single thread at a time to use this class, to use this method, and to make this total increment by 1. So this is nothing but we have made a thread safe application now. So this is nothing but a thread safe program we have just created. And but using this interlock.increment can only work with addition and subtraction. If we are doing addition and subtraction like operation, then and then only we can use this increment. Otherwise it will not work. Otherwise any other operation we want to perform, it cannot be possible with this increment. Okay, and for that what we can also do, what we can use instead of this increment, we can use this monitor class, and that is what this monitor class is used for, that is nothing but for a thread safety. And how we can use that, let me make that object first. We have to create one object here. Okay, that should be a static, let's say I will name that as, and that return type should be object, and I will make that name as a lock and is equals to new object. So I have to pass that object here, and what it is doing, so it is indicating that only a single thread, that thread is nothing but an object, okay, and we know that each and every type ultimately is converted into object, and that is nothing but each and every type in this C# is inherited from directly or indirectly from the object class. So that is why we can create object something like this, and we can pass that here, and what this indicating, that only a single object, only a single thread can access this variable. And how it is possible? For that I have to put that inside the try block, that is I want to make that something like this, and we can handle exceptions, but we can but that is up to us. If we don't want to handle the exception, we can omit that, okay, and we can directly use this finally. And what this finally will do, we have to, okay, so we have acquired the exclusive lock over one thread, that is a single thread have acquired the exclusive lock on this total, and we have to exit that lock as soon as that thread completed its work with this total, okay. So for that we have to release that lock here, and how we can do that? Monitor dot exit that lock, something like this. And now if I run this, or maybe I want to build this, and from command prompt I will clear this screen first, I will run this again, and once again, okay. So it is giving that same output by using this monitor now. And now instead of using so much of a code, what we can directly use, if I comment this for now, what we can directly use, we can directly use this lock here, and inside that lock I can pass that object, and inside this I can make that total increment, that is this. And let me build that, and let me run that command prompt again, and I have to go to the location again here. So where is this location? This is here. So in that I can go that I can go there, and the name of this project is thread in C#. So that is that name of that exe, nothing but we can copy that from here as well, so that we will not make a mistake in that, that is that name. So I will run that. So without .exe also I can run that, and that is nothing but exception optional only, okay. So it is giving that same output. So now this lock is nothing but equivalent to this much code. That lock is nothing but a syntactic sugar for this monitor.enter and monitor.exit, and that's what mentioned here. Monitor is the class present under system.threading namespace which provides a thread safety in a multi-threaded program in C#, and lock is nothing but only a syntactic sugar for that monitor. So both monitor and lock ensure that only one thread is executing code at the same time to avoid false output. And that's what I've just shown you. To make that application or to make that program thread safe, we can use that monitor or lock to make that only a single thread will acquire the lock on that code, execute that code one by one instead of simultaneous manner, okay. And that's what we have seen here. So these resources are not thread safe, that is this resource sharing can turn into this disadvantage, that is resources are not thread safe if we don't use that monitor or that lock. So we can resolve that using that monitor and lock, okay. And again they are not type safe, so threads are not type safe. We have So we have learned that already in the previous tutorial. If you guys remember, when we have used parameterized thread start, that is when we want to pass the parameter to a method, then if we use that parameterized thread start delegate, so that delegate only accept objects, and if we use that object, then we can pass anything there. So that is why that application will not be anymore a type safe. So if you guys not sure that, then please go and check this previous tutorial of this tutorial series. So that is why I have recommended you that, because to understand this better, you have to watch the first part of this thread in C#. So that is why. Now this third disadvantage, that is deadlock, can occur in multi-threaded program. That we will learn in the next part of this tutorial series, and we will also see how we can resolve this problem, that is a problem of deadlock which occurs in a multi-threaded program. Okay, so let's just quickly see the summary. Now first point, we can force a main thread to wait until its child thread completes its execution by calling a join method on child thread. Okay, we have seen that join method. Second, that is multi-threading can be used more efficiently to improve performance and high responsiveness on multi-core processor machine. So let me show you that. Why multi-threading is only efficient on the multi-core processor? Because if multi-threading is used in a single core processor, then that processor needs to switch between those threads. So that is nothing but a context switching. So the operating system's processor has to switch between those threads in order to perform their operations, in order to perform their execution. So that is a time consuming process. But in the multiprocessor machine, the threads will execute in a separate processor. That is, a separate processor will execute a separate threads. So let me show you that how many processors our machine has by using C#. Okay, here there is one class, that is, let me show you that here, that is environment, and in that environment there is this processor count method which will return the number of processor our machine has. Okay, and I will print that onto the console. Console dot write line number of processors on this machine. And what I can do, I will concatenate that here, something like this. And now let me print that. So it will give the number of processors I have on this machine. So I have four processors in this machine, and we will get that. Okay, so number of processors on this machine is 4. And to show you that, to prove you that, what I will do, I will right click on this task manager here, and I will go to that task manager, and in that, in this performance tab, we will see, so here it is only, we can see a single processor, but if I go to open resource monitor, so in this we can see that there are 4 processors on my machine, that is 1, this 2, this 3, and this 4. That is 4 blocks means the 4 processors, and one is handling that CPU operations, one is handling disk operations, one is handling a network, and one is handling the memory management. So that is nothing but a number of 4 processors I have on this machine. That is, this is nothing but a quad core processor. Okay, and that we can see by using this C# class as well, that is this environment class, and in that there is this method which gets the count of the processor on our machine. Okay, and now coming back to the point, so multi-threading can be used more efficiently to improve performance and high responsiveness on a multi-core processor, because then each processor will handle a separate thread in that processor, and that load will be divided and time will be improved. So that is nothing but an efficient use of multi-threading in the multi-core processor. Okay, and third, interlock can be used over lock or monitor for better performance, but that depends on the requirement, as interlock can only be used for increment, decrement, etc. operations. And I have shown you that if we want to only perform operations like increment and decrement, then only we can use this interlock. Otherwise, in contrast, monitor has several overloaded versions as well as several methods which can do lot of other works for thread safety. And let me show you that. So now let me just comment this, and let me comment this as well, and I will uncomment this. Okay, so as I have mentioned on that slide, this has a several overloaded version. What I can pass here, if you see in the IntelliSense, it is also taking that lock taken which is returning bool. So it is taking that variable. So what I will do, I will create that variable that will be a reference type and lock taken is equals to, I will initialize that to false for now, and I don't need to pass that ref here, I have to pass that here. Okay, that is something like this. I have passed that, and now what this lock taken will do, it will give the result true if one of the thread has acquired the exclusive lock on this code, then it will return a true, otherwise it will return a false. And now if that lock is taken, then and then only we will exit that, we will remove that lock, otherwise there is no point in removing that lock. Okay, so that is why, and that is how we can check that if that lock is still taken, something like this, and if it is, then and then only we want to exit that, and that's make very much sense. And I will build that, and what I will do, I will just clear the screen and I will print that again and again. Okay, so we are getting same output, but now we are also checking if one of the thread has taken that lock or not, and we are making that by default as a false, but as soon as one of the thread has acquired the lock, it will make that lock taken as true, that is this lock taken value will be true, and we are checking that if that lock is taken, then and then only we want to exit that. So that is the another overloaded version of this monitor, and as well as this monitor has several methods, that is something like, if we want that lock taken, that is in this else, what I can print, I can make that monitor dot wait method, that is use of this wait method, and what this wait method will do, and I have to use that lock here, and what this wait method will do, if this lock taken is false, then if this is false, then what this monitor dot wait will do, it will make that thread wait until the next thread has acquired this lock, and this current thread will acquire that lock again. So if I go that if I hover my mouse over here, we can see that here releases the lock on an object and blocks the current thread until it reacquires that lock, and that's what this wait method nothing but do this operation, that is it make that current thread wait until the next thread is acquire that lock, and it ensures that that current thread will reacquire this lock as soon as that another thread has completed its work. Okay, and there are these several methods for this monitor. Okay, so if I go to the definition, so there are plenty of methods here. Okay, that is this is enter, pulse all, wait. So there are the different kind of method, and according to our requirement we can use them with using this monitor. So that is why over that interlock, and that lock as well, which is a syntactical sugar for this monitor, we can use this monitor if we want to perform several operations, that is several extra operations, and as well as we can use that syntactical sugar, that is lock, if we don't want to perform any other extra operations other than only acquiring this lock, then we can use that lock to And for what? For the performance, because that performance of that lock is better than this monitor, that is this monitor. And for that to prove, let me show you that. I will just get rid of this. Okay. Alright. Now first we will see the performance of this monitor. Okay. And now what I will do here, I will make use of that stopwatch. I will make use of that stopwatch. That is stopwatch is equals to new stopwatch, and stopwatch is equals to stopwatch dot start new, and after this total I will make that it should be stopwatch. I will make that stopwatch stop, and I will print one message here, that is console dot write line elapsed time in milliseconds, and we will print that, and we know we can acquire that by using the stopwatch dot elapsed millisecond method. Okay, so now if I run this, okay, so we got that total. And what is the elapsed millisecond second? 1314. So just consider, so just remember this millisecond, okay, that is 1314. And now we will do the same thing with this lock. Instead of this monitor, I will comment this, I will use this lock. And now if I run this, as you can see that elapsed time, that is elapsed time in millisecond, is 1118, which is less than the previous time, that is 1314, which we required when we use this monitor. So from this we can tell, and it is proved, that this lock is much better in performance than this monitor. But there is also a condition, that unless and until we don't require any other operations other than this locking this thread, other than acquiring these locks for the threads, then we can use this lock for the performance point of view. Okay, so that's what mentioned here. If interlocked, can be used over lock or monitor for better performance only. Okay, and that depends on the requirement. Interlock can only be used for increment decrement operations, and in contrast monitor has a several overloaded version as well as several methods which can do a lot of other works for the thread safety, and for that only we can use monitor. But for the performance point of view, lock is better over monitor. Okay, and that's it for today, and we will meet in the next part of this tutorial, that is when we learn what is deadlock problem and how to resolve that. So at that time we will see what is deadlock problem and how to resolve that. So till then, subscribe this channel if you have not already. Please like, comment, share, and we will meet in the next part of this tutorial series. Until then, stay tuned and thank you.